onda, Sazoneros? Welcome to Ushuaia. Ushuaia is a city in the south of Argentina, near Antarctica, and it holds the title of being the southernmost city in the world. It's not the southernmost settlement or town, but in terms of cities, this is as south as you can go before you hit Australia, Antarctica, Australia, Argentina, all those A things. I've been looking at a lot of things related to the bottom of the earth, and so it gets you confused. So we're from Miami, and so we're used to that being called the bottom of the map, but that's not true. That's a lie. This is the real bottom of the map. And this is one of the 5 cities in the world that is considered a port to Antarctica. So all of the tourism and the scientific little expeditions that go to Antarctica, a lot of them pass through Ushuaia. So right now I'm in the plaza of the 12th of October, which is the date that Ushuaia was founded back in the 1800s. And this is a monument to the Aboriginal people and to the early pioneers of Ushuaia. They had Aboriginal people that lived here, and you know how that goes. Measles happened, typhus happened, all the diseases happened. But at least I appreciate that they are talking about this. So let's just do a little walking tour and talk and see Ushuaia. This is a tiny little town. Right where I am this is pretty much the center. This is the port of the city. And so you've got all these little they look like tiny little houses, and each of them is run by a tourism agency. So there's all these little tourism agencies that take you to Puerto Williams, which is the last town, which is a bit south of where we are here, but that's considered part of Chile. Penguin tours, sea lion tours, whale tours, and going to ride huskies. All of your different tourism things are all right here. I love that it's all in one central location. You just walk up to what you want and you can compare prices. It's great. So right here in the center is this huge Argentinian flag. If you know Argentina, you know they are proud to be Argentinian. And I love that for them. I love that about them. And then here is where the city tour bus will pick you up. We took this tour on our first day here, which was super helpful. It was very cheap. It was only about 15 bucks a person. And it was an hour and a half, and we went driving around all through the town, and we got to learn a lot of the history. So what's interesting about Ushuaia is that it started off as a penal colony. It was originally settled by British missionaries, came here, met the natives, not murdered, but brought their diseases, and then the people went away. But then that was followed by the Argentinian government wanting to make this a settlement for Argentina, so wanting to claim all of Tierra del Fuego. So in case you don't know, Tierra del Fuego is the name of the little triangle-shaped island at the south of Argentina. I thought that was the name of the region, like all of southern Argentina, but actually that's Patagonia, and Tierra del Fuego is just this island. The reason why it's called Tierra del Fuego is because when the first settlers arrived, Magellan, you know Magellan, Ferdinand Magellan, when he came, they noticed that there were all of these smoke. There was a smoke and fire that was being lit along the coast, which was actually the native peoples warning the other tribes that invaders are coming, strangers are coming. So they lit these smoke signals to alert the other tribes. And so from that, they called it the land of smoke, which somehow got transferred to the land of fire. Because if there is one thing that is not happening here, it's not hot. It is not hot. But there are a lot of fires. They do have a lot of fires, just unrelatedly. Yesterday we saw a big house fire, and that was crazy. But it's the land of fires because of all the fires that they had lit. They pulled a whole, these white men are dangerous, and you know, somebody should have listened to that. So here we have this obelisk, which is this Washington monument looking thing over here, which this is to commemorate where the Argentinian flag was raised for the first time here in Ushuaia. And so now we've got this big one here in the center, but this spot is where the first one was in 1884. And the entire town is pretty small. It's a pretty small town. It looks like a port town. It has that old man in the sea fishing village kind of vibe to it. Everything looks a little bit old, but it's in a charming way. Some of the other port cities we've been to look a little rough for the wear. This one looks old, can use some updates, but they're in the the midst of doing a lot of updates. So you still got some nice hotels, still got some nice restaurants. So right here, we got a couple nice hotels where we are. And then this is really the main stretch. This building here, right in front of me, is the first government building that was built in Ushuaia. This used to be the governor's house. And then it became kind of their like parliament, not a parliament, but it was their government building where they went for voting and things like that. So this is considered a historic site. Pretty much all of the buildings on this stretch are going to be historical because the entire city was based right here around this port, and then has slowly grown a little bit further up into the hills and the mountains. And there's definitely enough tourism stuff. There's enough nice hotels, enough restaurants for you to have a nice time. Here, right over where I am, is this sign for the Islas Malvinas. This is also known, no shade, also known as the Falkland Islands. This, as we've learned on this trip, this is a very, very contested set of islands here. They were Argentinian, and then the British did what the British be doing, and now it's British. And there was a big war over it in 1982 where a lot of people died. And Peru was one of the countries that had their back. I spoke with someone last night actually that he was telling me Peruvians and Argentinians have this kindredship because of the Islas Malvinas, because when they went to war, Peru were the ones who backed them up. So a little bit further down the street is a monument to the Islas Malvinas, to the people who died during the war. And they've got an Argentinian flag and a Peruvian flag right next to it. Right over here is where they've got the artisan handicrafts village, and we were able to buy the cutest little penguin hat for the baby. It looks adorable on her, and I got it specifically for our penguin watching tour that we just finished. And I wanted her to look like a little penguin while we saw the penguins. Everybody loved it. It was adorable. No regrets. And then right over here are the food trucks. So there's a whole bunch of food trucks here. The people are super nice. We've got Los Pollos Hermanos from Breaking Bad, because intellectual property does not exist outside of the United States, I guess. And they sell burgers. They're not even selling chicken. If you get a chance, this food truck here is called Dios, but the I and the O is the number 10. Like Messi, like Maradona. Number 10 is usually the best player on the team. Choripanes and chorizo. Choripan, in case you don't know, is a sandwich with grilled chorizo sliced in half on top of toasted bread with chimichurri and usually some chopped up tomato. It's very delicious. We got 3 earlier and we ate those bad boys up. Oh, that's cute. And their sign, open, abierto y nos fuimos. So instead of open and close, it's open and we're out of here. We're gone. So here you can just see we've got some cute hotels, a couple little tourist stores, gift shops and things like that. And then further along, historic buildings. There's a big mix of new hotel, historic building, gift shop, historic building. So we've got the first post office. It was around here. And Ushuaia was started as a penal colony, so their strategy for getting this to be Argentina's was, we got to get Argentinian citizens here, populate the area like how they did in Tasmania and like how France did with Devil's Island. So they sent their prisoners here so that they could say, hey, we have a population of however many hundred Argentinians here. This belongs to Argentina. So they built this prison, the prison at the end of the world, and the entire town the economy was kind of driven by that prison. And the prison, there was almost nothing here when they first built the prison, and the prisoners themselves built this town by cutting down the trees that were around the prison. That was their main work, was cutting down trees and then building the town. So this town used to be all buildings made out of wood, which is one of the reasons why they used to have a lot of fires, because the train had sparks that would fly off the top. They would fall into these wooden buildings and everything would catch on fire. So the fire department is a very important part of this town, a big, huge part of the history, along with the prison. Everybody used to either be a guard, do a work, something involved in the prison. Some of those prisoners stayed here in the city once they got out, and they became the residents of here. So plenty of people here are probably descended from those original prisoners, which was really interesting. And then those same prisoners also built the train. So the train of the end of the world was the train that took them from the prison into the town so that they could come work. So they had to build their own train, ride their own train so that they could come do work. And then when they shut down the prison in 1947, because they were Shawshank Redemptioning up in there, they was doing a lot of police brutality. When they shut down the prison, it has become a tourist attraction, which was a really fun trip that we did, that we were able to do yesterday, to see the train at the end of the world. So it's the southernmost railroad in the world. Pretty much everything here is the southernmost this and the southernmost that. This school was the first school built here. It's Escuela Número Uno, school number 1. If you know, public schools usually like PS 118 or PS 1, what have you. This one is number 1. And this is where the Pan American Highway ends. The Pan American Highway leads all the way from Alaska down through North America, South America, and ends in Tierra del Fuego National Park. The city is pretty small, so it's walkable. So we've been able to get everywhere we need to go. We ended up getting an Airbnb a little bit, not outside of the town, but kind of on the edge of town, as opposed to right in the center where we usually like to be. But it's been fine because the Ubers are so cheap here. This is one of only 5 cities in Patagonia that has Uber, so not all of Patagonia has Uber. Like El Calafate, another city we went to, no Uber. But here they do have it, and they're so cheap, they're like $2 or $3. It's just been easy to leave the Airbnb one time, come into town, and then just walk everywhere we need to go, and then go back one time at night. So it's not a huge difference from if we were staying in town. Another $2, $3, maximum $10 a day. So it ended up being a lot cheaper for us to get a less expensive Airbnb that was super cute with a really nice view, and just pay for a couple Ubers than it was to get something right in the center of town that was really expensive, or to go with the super fancy hotel that's up in the mountains.